great to be here again. Looking forward to starting a new season ever since November. First thing's got to be first, a huge thanks to the Bell family for their generosity and their support of the athletic department, and especially soccer. Could not be any more excited about opening the stadium on Sunday. And I think Callie can talk more about this because he's been traveling quite a lot. But if you look at facilities across the country, if you take that field and that stadium together, it's got to be one of the best out there. And we're very, very blessed to be where we're at. And now it's just on us to perform to match the stadium and the field. We have a good squad. This is my third season. This is definitely the youngest squad that we have. I think 21 of the 27 are underclassmen. But at the same time, there's lots of experience. A lot of the sophomores played a lot last year. Callie's sitting next to me here, even though he's a junior. I think he has a lot of experience that he can bring, and there's some other like Chris and Celis. So we are definitely the youngest I've had here at Kentucky, but I think also top to bottom, it's definitely the most talented group that we've had. So the challenge for me and my staff is to make sure that we get that talent and ability out as a product on the field. And I think sometimes when you're playing a team that's full of juniors and seniors, you might get a little intimidated. So we worked hard on that ever since, when we came back for the returners, when they came back in January, because we already knew at that point that we were going to be young in the fall. So I think that we're going to ask at times, we're going to lean at times on Callie and his upperclassmen, as well as some of those sophomore guys. Like you look at Kalen Fox, Jordan Wilson, Napo Matsoso, and Charlie Raymond. Those are all part of the sophomore class, but they've all played at least 16 college games already. So yes, they are sophomores by grade, but at the same time, I think they have a lot of experience. So again, we're just could not be any more excited to be here. It's been a really good preseason to this point. We have lots of ability, and now it's just on us to make sure that we perform to match the wonderful facility that we're in.
Coach, we've heard from a couple of the other coaches about the impact of the SEC network. What does that mean for your program?
Well, yes, since we're in Conference USA, it's a little different. But again, when I'm talking to other coaches and teams about how it is to coach soccer at Kentucky as an SEC school, the support that we're getting here is unbelievable. And Mitch and his staff, they've made sure that all our games are going to be on the SEC Plus, I think it is. So it'll be available on all the digital platforms. So for a men's soccer team to be able to broadcast every single home game and have commentary with that is, again, it goes the same as with the field and the stadium, that we're going to be one of the few in the country that can do that. So that's huge for us. I think it feels really good for the guys to be able to have their parents and friends be able to see it, and then also for recruiting, it's a huge plus as well, because the kids can see the product that we put on the field as well as they can see the wonderful facility. So the SEC network means a lot to us, and we're really, really happy to be able to have that.
Coach, you started a lot of freshmen getting in game out last year.
Yep.
It's going to be about the same this year?
Hopefully not as many. I think, I was sitting up here last fall pretty confident, said that we were going to be able to repeat and go back to the NCAA tournament, and I think we were 2 games short in the end. And I think what you cannot forget is, as freshmen, they have so much to learn about life, about soccer, about being a student, and sometimes that's just too much to ask for them in the first year. But I would say that right now we're probably looking between 2 and 5, depending upon injury situation and development of the freshmen playing. Talking about the freshman group, and it's different for different sports, but with soccer, you're at least 18 to 24 months out in terms of being able to look at a class that has not been manipulated or being taken at all. So the 2014 freshmen is the first group that when I took over, had full access to. There weren't anyone that we looked at that point that said, well, or he's already verbally committed somewhere else. So this is the first class that we had completely available to us, and that we were able to tell our story to. And in the end, if you look at those 11 guys, there's tons of quality there. And I think some of them, 2 to 5, is going to be able to contribute right away. Some is going to take a little longer, but they're going to be a huge part of what we're going to do going forward.
Coach, your preseason exhibition schedule didn't go according to plan.
Yep.
But you got Wright State coming up first game.
Yep.
Tell us about Wright State.
Wright State's it's a very good team. They had a great result the other day. They beat Marquette, who's ranked number 12 in the country, 2-1. They played a little overtime afterward as well, just because it was an exhibition game. But Wright State's a very, very good team. Wright State and Kentucky and several other schools, we're all competing for talent around in this area. So I know several of their players that we have looked at for whatever reason. I know Coach Davies well. We played together in my freshman year at Cincinnati. But I think they're going to be a team that is going to be coming in a little bit on a high because they had a good result in preseason. I think that it's his 6th season now. So I think that he feels that he's getting the program to where he wants it. They have some really dangerous players attacking. But also you have to factor in that we played everyone in both preseason games. And there were certain things that we wanted to cover on both of those. And in the end, losing Saturday stung a little bit. It gave me enough energy to rewatch the game that night, so I wasn't home until about 2 in the morning. But I think if you look at that game, if you look at some of the things we did in terms of hitting the crossbar, missing a penalty, I'm not too worried about going in playing Friday. They're going to be a fierce opponent. They're going to be very good. But at the same time, I'd hold us up against any team in the country.
On a region and even national level, how good is Cali and what makes them such a good keeper?
Yeah, so Conference USA, I would say, is one of the top 3 leagues in the country. So for Cali to be a first-team player in our league would make him one of the 3 best in the country. And I'm probably a little biased, but I would say that he might be higher than that. But I think, too, you have players, I know that you have players with ability that are not able to lead. And what Cali does so well on and off the field is whatever you need and whatever the team needs, Cali will do. And whether that's conditioning, and even though goalkeepers don't run much, Cali's one of our fittest guys in terms of in the weight room, and I think Cali knows what he needs to put on in terms of, because he wants to go pro, you know, to put muscle on. Classroom is a great student, so it's just having a player that is that blessed with ability, but also having the dedication on and off the field. Now, if you have another player that has maybe some issues that you have to resolve or give guidance to, you can always point to Cali of doing a great job.
How your health, your health?
Sorry?
Your health.
I started training on Monday. It's just been an injury that I picked up through the summer. Hoping to be ready for Friday, but just seeing how it goes. So far it's been well. Just didn't want to risk it at all throughout preseason, so just really took it easy. It's a short but tough season ahead, so didn't need to push myself at all this preseason in case of an injury or re-injuring it or doing something like that again.
And just with Cali's injury, as a goalkeeper with an ankle injury, it's not the end of the world. We've been able to do a lot of handling and that kind of stuff with Cali without testing his ankle. And Cali's also blessed with a very good base level of fitness. So even though he's been out for a certain amount of weeks, you know, I would have no problems putting him in on Friday if that is the call that we get from the doctors. But
Cali, how do you feel about, I know this is a loaded question sitting next to your head, but how do you feel about where this program is headed?
I'm extremely excited. I almost wish that I was a freshman right now. I mean, not only the facilities, but just the ideas of the coach, the philosophy that we're building on. It's really just an upward swing for this program. It's been a tough few years trying to get it started, I can tell, you know, with coming in as new coaches and like he talked about the recruiting and everything, but starting to bring in the players that fit our philosophy and fit our team. Coupled with the facilities and all the opportunities that you have here at UK, I think the only way that we can go is up. And I'm excited for this season. I'm looking forward to next year, and I'm just looking forward to the future of the program, and I can't wait to keep following it after I graduate.
Elaborate on your impressions of the facility.
For me, it's second to none as far as anything I've traveled to. Playing in Vancouver, training with a professional team there, the MLS team, the Wildcats, it is on par with their facilities that they have for training. Hot and cold tubs, big physio room with everything you need to recover. The change room has everything you need. Lounge, and you know, if you want to watch TV, get food, things like that, we have it all. The stadium is great for the fans. There's tons of seating, concession, things like that. And then also we have one of the best fields in the nation as well. So it's a pleasure being there every day. It gives you motivation when you come into training to push yourself and to get better, because you can't play in a stadium like that and not win, right?
Yes. Either, I mean, what makes it great? What constitutes a great field?
a great field.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be flat and the grass needs to be plentiful and short. And if we start there, I think that that's a good start. But again, I think it was a summer before I got the job. They redid the base of it, so it's now sand base. So when it's a bad storm, we get a lot of water, it just goes straight through it. And then, you know, I have lots of friends around the coaching community, and normally I don't get too involved in conversations when we're starting to complain about things. because I don't have anything to complain about. There are teams out there that are in the top 25 where the assistants are lining and mowing the field. So here we have a staff of 3 to 5 guys, depending upon the day, that are out there. They're doing the divots, they're recutting, you know, they're making sure that the field is cut just the way we want it, and you know, it's just fertilizers and whatever you need to do. So it's, again, going back to Mitch and his staff and the amount of support that we have as a program. It's like an artificial turf field, but it's grass, and that is what you're looking for. And just going back, piggybacking a little bit on Callie with the facility, part of having 21 of 27 being so young is that I think you spend a lot of time with video and whiteboard and doing tactical meetings. So to be able to do that all in one building and literally 3 steps away from each other, you know, we have a TV in the locker room where we do a lot of breaking down practice before we go out and train. Then we have TVs in the lounge where we will do post 11v11 scrimmage, post game breakdown. We can even break down a professional game if we want. And then if I want to have an individual meeting, or if I want to have a staff meeting, we have the staff office, day office that's down there that also has a TV. So the amount of teaching that we've done, just, you know, we're 2.5 weeks into preseason, I think is probably 3 to 4 weeks ahead of what we did last year. Just because we don't have to move around or schedule around other teams, it's just ours.
Coach, what is your ratio in terms of teaching versus practicing? What is the mix?
That depends on where we are in the season. I think you have to try to adjust it and be mindful of games. But again, one of the things, many things of being here is that, you know, Mitch wants you to go out and pursue knowledge and learn more and try to develop as a human, as a coach, as a player, whatever it is. And we've done a fair amount of talking to professional clubs, being at conferences and that kind of stuff, and looking at, you know, we all have GPS monitors now, so we're looking at loads. So, you know, you're looking at the internal load with the heart and the lungs, and you're looking at the external load in terms of the legs and how much turning and all that kind of stuff. And basically, the guys, they get a summer conditioning manual, 8-week program that we encourage them to do, but college guys being college guys, they haven't trained twice a day. So the first week, the ratio was 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 with teaching and practicing, just because we wanted to get them up to speed. And making sure, one of our goals was the first week of practice, no new injuries. So Callie came in injured, but no new injuries after the first week, which we did, which was great. So then the second week, all of a sudden now we're up to speed, we're fit, we're healthy. Now we can start doing 2-a-days, and maybe there's a little less teaching and more practicing. But at the same time, you know, teaching and practicing, they're the same thing. It's just a matter of whether you're breaking a sweat or not. But if we go out to practice, we're doing a lot of teaching on the field as well. And that's why it's good to have so many of the guys returning, and especially that sophomore class and then Callie and those guys, is that they've seen those pictures since January, where we really sat down and said, okay, with the new guys coming in this fall, how are we going to have success or more success than we did last fall? So they've seen all that, January, February, all the way through end of April. So then when you come in with 11 freshmen, you can count on Callie and Kaylin and Jordan and Charlie and Chris and Napo, and they can also do corrections on the field. So I can take a step back and say, okay, who's going to be the guys that are going to lead us? Who's the one that's seeing the pictures and can make adjustments on the field?
Callie, how close to 100% are you?
I'm close. There's a few things that I'm still working on, but generally as a keeper, you know, you're not doing a lot of the running that the players are doing. There's not a ton of the impact like that. So for me to compete at 100%, I can't remember the last time I did, you know what I mean? So I'm at a pretty good place right now, still going to work for the rest of the week and then see how it goes before Friday's match.
Last season you guys created plenty of opportunities but struggled to turn those into goals. Has that been a focus during the preseason?
Absolutely. That's been a focus since January, I would say. And I think that's also something that you have to look at recruiting. But we have several attacking players coming in, and we have a fair amount of attacking players coming back. But judging from Saturday, we still have some work to do. There was lots of good possession, final third entries and that kind of stuff, but also it's just one of those where I think it comes with maturity, being able to take that half a second that you need around the box or in the 18, just take a deep breath and then making sure you make good contact. So I wouldn't expect us to be perfect on Friday, but slowly and surely we'll develop, and the good thing about playing the schedule that we play, I would say 10 wins or so gets us in the NCAA tournament. And the last 2 seasons we've started 0-4 and 1-4. So at least you have more than 10 games left at that point. But hopefully that is not how we're starting off this year.
Anything
Thank you.
Thank you.